Hey there, Pisces, welcome to your reading. This time we are going to jump right in here. You start with the book and the heart here. So, this is from the Gilded Lenormand right here. The book in the Lenormand can represent hidden or secret information. I'll talk more about that in just a second, but, for a lot of you this could be about kind of like researching something new. The heart, which is the Jack of Hearts in the Lenormand, can represent love, of course. So there could be a new connection coming in for some of you. And again, love definitely shows up for you, Pisces. I mean, Venus is in Pisces. Venus is going to move into Aries, but then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces, which is pretty interesting. So, for those of you that are looking for a connection, you know that now is definitely a good time to look or try to find someone. Again, just because the astrology and the cards say that there's love doesn't mean you're going to find love. Like, no one is going to magically appear on your doorstep. You have to leave the house, believe it or not, and you have to, put yourself out there in some way to be able to attract something. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but, some people think we live in La La Land or Harry Potter Land where things just magically appear, but that's not how it works. So sorry to, crush your dreams here, Pisces, but, you have to do something. And so now, I just threw the Jack of Hearts across the room, so I'm not going to be able to get it. But you have the book, and the book in the Lenormand is a good card. The book is always closed on most Lenormand decks, so the book kind of represents hidden or secret information. It's not really that it's hidden or secret, we just have to look for it. So again, if you're looking to, make improvements, the card basically says there are great improvements. This is the 10 of Diamonds in the playing card reading system, and it basically says that, you could create great wealth or success if you do the research. So I would be researching any of your ideas. You have the 9 of Cups, the Magician, the 7 of Pentacles, and the 9 of Pentacles. So, I feel for a lot of you there's a lot of fulfillment here. We even go down, from this 9 of Cups down to the Queen of Wands to the Ace of Cups. You had that heart card that I threw across the room, and the heart can also be your connection to your heart. The Ace of Cups can be your heart as well. And so, if you are working on anything that has like a connection to your heart, something that you love doing in life, then that is where your success is going to come from. Even the Queen of Wands, the thing about the Queen of Wands is that she follows her desire, which doesn't make logical sense. Again, we do not necessarily live in a world that rewards following your desire, although I think it does. But really it's like the world tries to tell us like, oh, you have to go to school, you have to get this degree, and you can only be a dentist or a lawyer, or whatever, right? But the Queen of Wands, she would start a business, or she would, go do something like volunteering in some foreign country and opening her own orphanage or something like that. Like, she is more heart-based. She does something that her heart is telling her to do. And again, the Queen of Wands says we have to make the space, to do that. The 9 of Cups says we have to live in fulfillment. So again, if there's something you want to do, even if it doesn't fit into this world, then, now is the time to do it. And again, literally, we've been talking about this for a while, Pisces, because I believe Pisces, now is the time, right? North Node in Pisces. You are literally in your North Node. You have to move towards your purpose, right? And you have to show the world, that it's possible to do those things. So as I've been saying to you for years, I believe Pisces is here to be an example for other people and showing people that you can live life in your own way. And so I would do it. You have the Magician. The Magician, of course, is about manifestation. Now he is pointing down to the Knight of Wands here. And so the Knight of Wands is about going on adventures, kind of like being willing to explore as well. And kind of with that book card as well, again, we have to explore new ideas to be successful. So I feel like the Magician is saying for you to manifest, you have to go and explore. You have these two that wanted to come out together. You have the 9 of Pentacles and the 7 of Pentacles. The 9 of Pentacles, of course, is a card of independence and gratitude and luxuries. The 7 of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? Are you getting a good result for the work that you're doing or not? And I cannot answer that question for you, obviously. You have to answer that question. But I do get this craving for more, from this reading, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Especially if you're craving to make improvements that would better not only your life but, other people's lives. I think that we're here to grow as much as possible. I think that there are definitely evil forces in the world that are trying to get people to, live in boxes and eat bugs for sure. I am totally against that. Or they're trying to turn us, There are other people who are trying to turn us into robots, which I'm also against. So, they are trying to take our humanness away. This right here is saying you are meant to grow as much as possible and, show people how to do it, which really, I think, again, that is kind of like the spiritual journey that Pisces is on right now. And that's what I would encourage you to do, whatever it is you want to do, right? Whatever your heart is telling you to do. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Ace of Wands. Same thing. Ace of Wands is following your desire. Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. Definitely an upgrade time for Pisces. Really, that part of the sky, your part of the sky, basically Pisces and Aries, the two of you are going to be very focused, I believe, on upgrades, on upgrading your life or improving your living conditions or, whatever it is. And so, to me, this just fits in very well with what's going on with the Magician. You have the World. Yes, you can have whatever you want, really. The World and the Magician says you are manifesting your new world. But you have to create it. It's funny also that you have the Nine of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles is heaven on earth. And of course, like again, as I always say, these things aren't going to just magically happen for you. You have to put in the work. You're going to have to challenge yourself. You're going to have to grow. And you're going to have to push yourself past that point where you normally give up on things. But now is the time for you to really kind of create your new reality. And again, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Life is never easy, but I think it'll be worth it. And, I will always encourage people to do the hard thing. With the Nine of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Wands again. I had a feeling before this reading that you would get a reading that just kind of, had a nice flow to it, and it definitely does. Whenever we have repeating cards, it's basically the universe saying, I meant what I said. So, definitely needing to follow your desires with the Queen of Wands. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, here you go, this is a good one. You have this Cancer card. It says, nurture all that you love. Yes, the Jack of Hearts, the Heart card, the Ace of Cups, the Queen of Wands. Outside of love, this might not even be a love reading. It really could just be saying you need to nurture all you love. It says, take time to care for your well-being and nurture the things that you love. Nine of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, same thing. You have this choose a path that says there are many paths before you, but you may only choose one. I think this is very common for Pisces where, Pisces will have 100 ideas and not be sure what direction to move in. I think the secret for Pisces is that, guess what, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you are, again, following your heart. It's like your heart knows exactly what path to choose, and I think that's the path you need to choose here. You have the Five of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. Five of Pentacles is feeling left out in the cold. I do feel like Pisces needs to, this would be my one challenge here in the reading. I feel, and well, this and the Five of Wands right next to it, I feel just all those times in life where you have not felt good enough, or where something has made you not feel good enough. I feel those are the part of your inner voice that you have to conquer at this time. And this will continue for a little while longer for you, Pisces, where, there might be moments where you feel like, oh, I can't do this because someone called me stupid in second grade, or, whatever. So it's like those types of blockages or traumas or whatever you want to call them, those are the things that you have to quiet, that part of your inner voice, and you need to kind of realize how powerful you are, which definitely, with the North Node in your sign again, is going to be there for about 18 months. And it takes a long time for the North Node to come back to a sign, so it'll be a long time before it's back here. But it's like now is the time to really focus on the things, that do make you strong. That, the secret with the Five of Pentacles is to not call attention to your weaknesses and to double down on your strengths. So, that's what I would do with the Five of Pentacles. You have the Queen of Wands again. Again, she needs to be bold and assertive. She has to embrace those energies of being bold, being assertive. And the other thing about the Queen of Wands is that she has to learn as she goes. So you might not know everything that you're doing on your new path, and that's perfectly fine. The other thing is that people might be criticizing her, or, people might be saying that she's crazy for doing what she's doing. She has this black cat right here, and the black cat in the tarot, represents like during the times of tarot, black cats were considered unlucky. And so, she has a black cat because she wants a black cat. She doesn't care what anyone thinks. And definitely with the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Wands here, I feel like you need to, not care what people are thinking about you at this time. And I mean that in a positive way. You have the Knight of Wands again. Adventure is going to be very good for you. Again, we can, if we have a limited perspective, again, the easiest way to solve problems to be more successful is education. And we can educate through adventure just by expanding our perspective or our vision, right? So usually we can do this through exploration. If we don't believe something is possible, I believe we should go and look for evidence that something is possible. And the Knight of Wands really wants you to do that in this reading, and that's kind of the message I'm getting off of the Knight of Wands. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Magician again. Again, I knew there would be a lot of repeating cards in this reading because, again, it just seems like one of those readings that has a very nice flow, which is good. I'm not saying this is going to be perfect, but, it definitely has a very nice flow to it. The Magician here is pointing to the Five of Wands. He would also be pointing down to the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is a very good card for manifestation. Eight of Wands, I always say we can't be pulling in two directions with the Eight of Wands. All those wands are focusing in one direction. So if you're, I don't think we have to be perfect. I think even if you're just like 51% focused in the right direction and you're like 49% focused in the wrong direction, as long as it's like 51%, you will get to where you're trying to go, right? And so we can't pull in two directions. We can't say, I want to be successful, but also be talking to ourselves or to other people about how we're not successful, right? We have to really correct our thoughts and we have to correct our inner voice so that we start telling a new story. And again, this is something that changed my life and it's free, right? And so like many years ago, I was just a negative Nelly living stuck in my room for 4.5 years. I was doing nothing with my life and just telling myself the same negative story every single day. Nothing changed. And, the last thing I wanted was people to tell me to be more positive. That used to piss me off, right? But then I tried it and things got better. So, again, I would start telling the story you want. With the Eight of Wands, with the Queen of Wands, you have the Fool. The Fools, in the major arcana, we go from the Fool to the World, and then when we get to the World, we start all over again as a Fool. So I feel this is just saying that there's a new beginning coming in for you. It's kind of like an unread path. I feel for a lot of you, again, you're doing something with your life or you're about to show people like how to do something. And I'm not like you aren't doing this with your words. I think you are doing this with your actions and just the way you live your life. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Ten of Swords. I would be careful of inconsistent energy, just in general, with the Knight of Wands. So if you have people who are inconsistent, then, I would be very careful of that. I'm not even talking about love here. I'm talking about like everything in your life. I would be careful of your time. As you become more successful, more and more people want your time, right? And so I think you need to be cautious of your time. The other thing is that this could just represent a new beginning. Ten of Swords can say something is dead, done, over with, and you're just having a new beginning. Next you have this Time to Go card and this Tick-Tock card. It is, it's time to start for sure. The Time to Go card says you've been in purgatory. Again, this is one of those periods. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, Pisces, but I think this is a time you will remember. I think this is a time where, maybe it's not perfect, like I said, and I'm not saying there's going to be some sort of, mind-blowing event that happens for you during this time, but, I think it's like the start of something where you think like that is when, that time is when I made up my mind on the new direction I was going to move in, or, that's when I made up my mind on what I was going to do with my life. So, it seems to be a very important time, and I would definitely take the time to, process and think and all that other good stuff. You have the Five of Wands again. I always say to Pisces that no one can see Pisces' vision. It's like I think Pisces maybe hears no, or, Pisces maybe experiences the most confusion from other people, right, based off your ideas. So if you're telling people your ideas, they probably never understand your ideas, or the direction you're going in, or what you're doing with your life. And so the Five of Wands can represent that conflict. The Five of Wands I look at as a good card though, because these people are using sticks to fight, they're not using swords. And really with this card they are learning how to fight, they are learning how to battle. And I feel a lot of you have learned how to teach yourself things and how to get through competition. We already talked about the Eight of Wands a little bit. Again, I think your focus, focusing on exactly what you want and having that single-minded focus is going to be important for you. I think that, again, you can't be pulling in two directions, you have to focus in one direction. And if your, inner voice is, if you have that little devil on your shoulder, right, that is kind of telling you that you can't do things. I think that you need to do it anyway and overcome that devil on your shoulder, right, with the Eight of Wands and move towards success. You have the Eight of Cups, or move towards your heart with the Ace of Cups. You have two aces, and, two aces connected is a definite yes to any question I haven't answered. But the Ace of Cups is, again, following your heart, doing things that cause flow, which came up for a lot of people in recent readings. For example. So, it definitely seems to be a time where the universe is like saying, you shouldn't be banging your head against the wall, and to be successful you should be doing things that cause flow. With the Five of Wands you have the Ace of Swords, another ace, so a victory. This could be you rising above the competition, which is amazing. I think this has to do with your ideas, Pisces, just in general. So the problem with ideas is, obviously we have to take action on those ideas, right? And so a lot, even though these are Wands cards which are very creative and they're not necessarily mental, we have the Ace of Swords, which is a very mental energy. Ace of Swords is also about focus. But I feel like you have ideas, and if you just let them be ideas, they're just going to be ideas. I think if you take action on your ideas, that's where the success is going to come from. With the Eight of Wands, damn, this is a good reading, Pisces. You have the Ten of Cups with the Eight of Wands. Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty, happy home, happy family. Again, I don't really necessarily think this is a love reading. I think it is a heart reading. I would say, it's connected to your heart. The Ten of Cups is about focusing on happiness and doing things that make you happy. And again, it's also, I would say, in this reading about realizing that you can't make other people happy as well, which is always a problem for Pisces because we're people pleasers. So we try to make people happy and we can't. I think what you are starting to realize is that making yourself happy will make other people happy because you're becoming an example, which is much, much better. So, really good. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is pretty good because it says you're getting to the end of a long journey. The story of this card is that this is his harvest, and he is about to reach his home in the background here. So I feel a lot of you, if you have been putting the work in, are about to have some sort of harvest. Again, it's funny that I said get in the flow as well with the Ace of Cups because the Ten of Wands would be, just hard work for hard work's sake. I still don't think it's a bad card personally, but, he is just working hard, and the Ace of Cups and the Eight of Wands are both cards that can say that there's, a smoother way to do what you're doing. Next you have this Bride card. It says wife and engagement on it. You have this tree. It says stability and growth on it. Again, for some of you there could be love, and I do think you're probably thinking about love because of Venus in your sign, but this could also just represent a commitment to your new direction. Again, you have this TikTok card and this time to go card, and all these other cards that say you have to commit to a path. So I feel for a lot of you that this could just say you are committing to a path or part of your journey. You have the High Priestess, the Six of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. High Priestess, of course, is you showing up in a very strong position. So whenever you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength. And I feel you're just, the High Priestess just tells me that this reading is all about you. You have the Six of Wands, success, a victory, recognition. Again, all things that definitely could be coming to you with the North Node in your sign, also Saturn in your sign if you do the work, right? So do the work, but there's definitely success, or there could be recognition for your hard work that's coming in for you as well, or you could be feeling like you're getting recognized. You have the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is about building wealth in the area of the good stuff, so there could be some improvements in your finances coming in for you. I think recently there was probably a plateau financially for Pisces. I think there were limited, certain opportunities for you to increase your finances, whether you did or you didn't. But now I think you are going to be more focused on, kind of like creating a solid financial foundation. More repeating cards. With the High Priestess, you have the Six of Wands. I think this is just saying that you are getting attention, that you are kind of getting the recognition that you deserve. With the Six of Wands, you have the Star. The Star is a card of fulfillment or fulfillment in general. It also kind of says that you are the star, Pisces. You are, it's connected to that Six of Wands. So, you really could be standing out. This kind of further increases that message about being an example. Again, the Star card is Aquarius. We have Pluto in Aquarius. I've been saying this to you for a while now, that I believe the best thing Pisces can do is be a living example for other people. And so if you do that, then you'll get the reward. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Cups. Again, just like a tiny little bit of love in this reading. So if you want love, there definitely could be like a knight in shining armor, or there could be a strong connection that's coming in for you with the Knight of Cups. And, it looks like the beginnings to me. I always say that with the Pentacle cards like the King of Pentacles and stuff, sometimes we start slow, so it might be something that starts a little slow. You have this Restlessness card. Yes, Pisces, I would be channeling if you are feeling restless, or if you have those moments where you are feeling restless, I would make sure that you're channeling that energy into something creative. Could even be a personal project. It doesn't have to be anything special, but as long as you're channeling restlessness, then it isn't destructive. It's when we don't channel it that it is. You have this Influence card. Yeah, I would still be careful of external influences on relationships. Again, I talk to a lot of Pisces, Pisces stick together, right? And a lot of Pisces I know have had relationships that were kind of ruined by external influences like other people or exes or, people getting involved in the relationship who shouldn't have been getting involved. So I would be careful of that type of relationship in general. Especially if you are, meeting a person who, is involved with another person or, has too many people in their ear. I would be careful of that. If you're getting into something new, I would make sure that other people are not getting involved in the connection so that you can keep it safe. And again, the reason for this is Neptune in Pisces, and I would also say the North Node in Pisces as well. Neptune will be leaving Pisces during this period, although it's going to retrograde back into the sign sometime later on, and so it will retrograde back. It will get a little bit better toward the end of this cycle. This is not something to be worried about, it's just something to pay attention to. You have this Patience card. I feel like your patience is being rewarded. 10 of Wands, it's like you've been on this long-ass journey, carrying your heavy-ass harvest, and you're getting the harvest. So I feel your patience is being rewarded, really. You have this Fortune card. Yes, very fortunate reading, so really good. And finally, you have this Companionship card. Yeah, like I said, I feel if you're meeting a person, this could start slow, or I kind of feel like something, if you're starting a new connection, I feel like there's some sort of like unusual start. And I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean that in a good way. Like, you start out as friends and, one night you're on the couch and then you start making out all of a sudden, even though you're just friends, right? So it's like that, It's like where maybe there's no discussion about a connection, but it's like the two of you, it's like you have one of those moments where you bump into each other, accidents happen, clothes come off, and then you go from there, right? So we've all been there, right? We're all adults here, so, it happens to the best of us. But I don't know, it looks really good if there is love coming in for you, especially with Venus in Pisces, even though it's retrograde, or even though it will be going retrograde later on. But this still looks good. So, thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your week.